Aloha, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the United 808 podcast. And this is our first podcast after the golf tournament.
Happy anniversary.
The greatest day of the year this year. That was a fantastic tournament. Even though it was UPW's first golf tournament, it went off without a hitch. I had a lot of fun. I know you had a lot of fun. It seemed like everybody had a lot of fun.
I want to say from the tournaments we got to be involved, it's got to be the top 5 out there right now. The impact that we had with memberships being involved, all the labor heads from public, trades, private was out there in support.
Some celebrities too.
I want to say a bunch of people kept going, is that Guy Hoggy driving past me right now? It's like, well, he got the weather correct today, so we'll leave him alone. It was a great event, first annual. It ran with no hiccups, no mistakes, a lot of positive feedback, and more importantly, a lot of funds coming in for our scholarship program.
Yeah, so talk about that real quick. I mean, obviously a golf tournament, it's fun to have a golf tournament, just to have a golf tournament, and we all had a blast. But there was a purpose behind it for the Keiki.
Yes, for our Jimmy Toledo Foundation scholarship. And we wanted to make sure that we were looking for ways to bring in incomes without going into the members' pockets or going out other ways to bring in funds. And we looked at our other unions and we saw how they were doing golf tournaments, charity work, and we're like, hey, look, I think with our organizing skills, our membership base, we could get this up and running. And I want to say it was not only a huge success, but we already have other people waiting for next year's event coming up because they want to partake in it.
I'm waiting for next year's event too. It was a lot of fun to get out there and meet a bunch of people that I hadn't had a chance to meet before, and there's a lot of smack talk going on, and I like that.
Well, it's blue collar workers, and
right.
Out of all the prizes that was donated as raffles and things, I think the most contested, most sought after items was a San Francisco 49er golf bag.
Correct.
A Raiders golf bag, which was donated by our guys at Refuge, Opalas. I think they just found it in the trash. I'm not sure. And then the Dallas Cowboys golf bag.
Yes, boy, a lot of heated conversations that day. That was a lot of fun. Labor Day just happened. A lot going on with Labor Day. The big picnic, of course.
It was a beautiful day, as always. All the unions coming together, showing solidarity, putting on an event for our families and our members and their families.
So again, not just UPW. This is all the unions.
Oh, this is everyone stepping up, bringing their A game.
Yeah, except maybe a couple unions might not have been there.
Yeah, there was a few missing, and I'll get to that. But it's an annual event we do every year here on Oahu, and myself. I know Randy Pereira, I can say, Damon Kim. There's a number of union leaders out there, George Paris. We want to try to see as we move forward, take this statewide. We want to try to have an event like this on every island. And it's slowly in the works to happen. I wanted it done this year, but we wasn't successful, but hopefully we can get it done next year.
Yeah, and why do you think it's so important to get not just everybody from UPW, but from all the unions together all at once a year?
I think that's a broader and bigger picture that first time I've seen in years. I grew up in an ILW home, and I used to see the union stand in solidarity and provide stuff like this to the membership. And to see it again where all of us are standing together on the same front against the employer, pushing for better things all around for our members. I can't stress that enough. That is such a beautiful thing, the solidarity of that day.
And there was some other solidarity going on that weekend as well.
Yep.
Again, the couple of unions that weren't at the picnic.
I gotta say it was a Labor Day weekend, only justifiable that one of the larger unions here in the state, Local 5, Unite Here, they exercised their contract rights and they took their workers to the strike line. They shut down a few hotels, made sure their presence was felt in Waikiki. And even though we had that celebration at the Waikiki Shell, our thoughts and prayers were with those individuals at the line.
over 5,000 people, I think, were on strike at several of the hotels around Waikiki. And what's the purpose, do you think, of doing a temporary strike, like a 3-day strike?
It shows the employer the force. You show the employers the true power of a union. The power comes from membership. It's a vote strike can be 99% we're going to vote for a strike. The real strike vote counts of the day that morning comes, how many walk up to the line, pick up their sign, put it on the shoulders, and start walking. That's the true vote. And to be able to flex it and show it to the employer that you had a successful strike vote, and even more importantly, you had everyone show up to the line and support that strike vote.
On a holiday weekend, by the way.
On a holiday weekend, giving up
Beautiful
that holiday
weekend.
pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
To celebrate Labor's Day with a strike is something beautiful.
So the nurses' strike as well is another thing that we're looking at.
Yes, Hawaii Nursing Association is coming up. They're still in that heated battle in the negotiation table. They took, I want to say, just over a week or so earlier in this year, and I could be incorrect.
That was back in January, I think. Yeah.
They went to the line. UPW was there with them, standing on that line, supporting them. And when this strike occurs, we'll be on that line with them again.
And again, it's just important to show that solidarity, right? Just like the
solidarity.
picnic. Yeah.
Well, if you look at it, that's so critical for Hawaii. Hawaii, we rely on tourism to function as a state. It's just a fact. You can't look away from it. And these are the workers providing that service for tourism, that income that Hawaii relies on. So you should be able to take care of those workers. And at the same time, the people taking care of our kapunas, our family, our keikis who are ill, these are the ones looking after them and protecting their lives. So justifiable, pay them as well.
Yeah. And so we're looking at, it seems like all of a sudden a bunch of unions are striking around the same time or potentially striking. So taking a step back and looking at the macro view of this, what do you think that means?
You know, at our golf tournament, another labor head brought it to my attention when he says, you know, there was a few before the Maui strike, but it's your guys' fault we got the ball rolling. It's like, no, I don't think it's anybody's fault. I think the members are just so much tired of being disrespected for the work they put in and day out. They take away time away from their families, time away from their loved ones. And all they want is the respect and the pay to show that respect. Even some of them, it's not even about pay. It's about just the way the contract reads. The mandatory holdbacks, the overextended hours, patient to nurse ratios. It's things as simple as that the employer is fighting on. And the members are doing something that the state of Hawaii is built on. Labor strikes against the Big Five is what this state was built off of. And that's as we move forward on the labor fight, that we got to remind everybody. That's one of our strongest tools in our back pocket that we need to utilize.
And do you think that these strikes, obviously with future union negotiations on the line, I'm sure everyone is looking at these strikes going, oh, that could be us on both sides, right?
Yes, it's the one way we got to look at it. We're in negotiations for our bargaining one, our larger bargaining unit right now coming up. And that's something we're looking at also, that if push comes to shove, are we going to be prepared ourselves moving into a calling for a strike? And that's why as we move forward, something I've stressed to my board, I've stressed to my members when we're in negotiations, at our next convention next year, we have to change our language in our constitution and create a strike fund.
And so this is just my personal opinion, it seems like part of the reason why the hotels strike and when the nurses do strike like they did back in January, why the turnout is so strong and there is such solidarity there is because both of those unions have strike funds, correct?
Correct. It's a way the union is able to show support to their members for coming up in the line. It's a small amount that they're able to help put in the pocket to help pay the bills to get by. And for whatever reason, 80 years for United Public Workers, we never put one together. Was something when I took office, we identified shortly right before the Maui strike, not having a strike fund is going to hurt our members on the line. And as we move forward going into our next convention, it's one of the top priorities that I want to introduce on the floor. That we need a strike fund up and running so we can get money in there. So if any of our bargaining units, private and public, call for a strike, we can provide the funds to help assist them.
So I'm working at the front desk of a hotel, and you come to me and say, hey, Flash, we're going to go on strike this weekend for 3 days. And I turn to my union and say, okay, what's in it for me? What do I get out of it? As someone that worked at a hotel that went on strike for those 3 days, what would I have gotten?
See, that's the important thing, is the entity of the individuals when a strike is about to occur. Because, like I said, the real vote is those individuals that pick up the sign, that out there on the line, holding the line, to help you at the negotiation table saying, look, this is what our members are willing to do for fight what we're asking for. So you got to realize it's what you're achieving is helping of what the union is asking at the table, reinforcing it that the members are standing behind that ask. So you're looking at anything from pay increases, medical benefits being better, retirement benefits being better. There's a whole broad field of what you want to chase after.
Why don't we have a strike fund then? It seems like logical that UPW should have a strike fund.
Well, I only took office 3 years ago. So right when we took office, our first year, we had our convention. We had a lot of stuff we had to clean up in our constitution. A lot of language had to change. And at that time, we didn't get to address it. But in 2025, we have our next one coming up, and it is something we want to address.
And if I'm on the other side of the table from UPW when it's time to negotiate, the knowledge of the fact that UPW either does or doesn't have a strike fund will make a difference in the negotiations, don't you think?
That's something the employer looks at.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
That's one of the tactics they look at. One of the first tactics they'll always do, and this is strike 101, union busting 101. They're going to try and make the members hurt, and the way they're going to make it hurt is make you miss a few paychecks. And the way you hold the line is through that strike fund, that solidarity of helping each other out. And that's why it's important that that resolution gets passed next time around.
When there was the writer's strike in Hollywood, I think it was last year, it became public knowledge. This was several months into the strike, right? There was some leaked conversations from Hollywood executives that basically they were saying, well, once their houses go into foreclosure, once they having to start declaring bankruptcy, that's when we have them. Those executives were using the lack of a strike fund that the writers didn't have against them, hoping that they could just wait them out.
Well, I know, for that strike right there, it goes to show, because I know they're trying to outsource to other country, writers from anywhere, trying to get any scripts or anything in to help them out. And the quality of the product that was going out could show. Everybody knows, I hate to say it, the movies and shows that were coming out sucked. And it was because union members weren't doing their jobs. Union members weren't providing the services that they neglected. So they knew their tactic of delay, make the individuals hurt. But the solidarity that union got was beautiful, because you had well-known actors, actresses coming out and standing in solidarity with them. A lot of them were saying they weren't taking jobs until those writers got their contract done. And at the same time, you had other unions standing in solidarity with them. You had the auto workers rising up in support of actors. You had Teamsters up there in strong support. And that's, like I was preaching earlier, it's just something beautiful when you see everybody on the same page.
Yeah. It does make it easier for UPW moving forward if there was a strike fund when it comes time to negotiate, though. You have that leverage in your back pocket, and those across the table from you know that you have that leverage as well.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that, one, are you dealing with a union that's willing to stand there, put their foot down, and call for a strike and run a strike? Not just carry a vote and then go to the table and accept. Call the strike and hold the strike. And then two, are you going to support your members? Are you going to be there in solidarity, not only for just that bargaining unit or that unit that's striking, everyone coming out in support, everyone being there, public, community has to be one of the strongest supporters so it to be successful.
Well, it seems like a strike fund is a no-brainer, but hey, that's just me. The AFSCME Convention, tell me a little bit about that.
So our international had their convention. I want to say it's every 2 years. During this convention, Brother Lee Sanders and our Secretary Treasurer, Elisa McBride, both were up for their elections. Both ran uncontested and was reelected into their positions. So I gotta say, first off, congratulations to both of them. They are such good, strong leaders. Hearing both of them speak about the labor fight is a blessing and an opportunity that, if the members could ever hear them speak in person, is power in moving. It really is. Lee, I give him credit. He's talking just monotone, getting the message across, and then boom, his emotion takes him up, and he's got the crowd just riled up and going. And their leadership in this international union that we fall under has taken us so far. And to be under their guidance, their leadership is a true blessing for me. And I'm going to be honest, it was a great time. UPW is always making themselves known at these conventions. Actually, someone from Chicago shared that this was their first convention they ever attended for the international. And when they had their pre-convention meeting, like, this is what we need to know, this is what's going to happen, she shared with us that on their agenda was, if you get lost, you need help, find United Public Workers from Hawaii, because those guys got so much love for everybody. They'll make sure they'll help you out. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So she worked her way over to Hawaii. She goes, "Are you guys UPW?" I was like, "Yeah, what's going on? We didn't do it, we promise." And she shared the story. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. All right, let's go have a beer."
That's really cool. That's really saying something. Is there any way for people, I know it's not the same if you're not in the room, but to go and watch the Lee Sanders speech? Is it on YouTube or anywhere where people can
He's
find
got
it?
lots on YouTube, but AFSCME's website, go check it out. It's got so much resource
Good luck
on
Google
there.
searching that. That's AFSCME.
Trust me, when you're a part of it, you don't mess that word up. It's the big green mean machine, and we come rolling through every single time. So it's a beautiful family to be a part of.
So one thing I forgot to mention about the golf tournament is obviously the Jimmy Toledo Foundation giving scholarships to Keiki. Now, this year, 5 students were awarded the scholarships.
Correct. 5 Keikis was awarded. When I had the opportunity to call each of the parents to notify them that our members that their child won the scholarship, it was really moving to hear each of their stories. The pride that they could have their union endorse it and back them was something really special. And at the same time, hearing these kids' stories, these young adults, share their stories of their essays, it was really moving because it shows that labor unions are in their household as well, that they recognize a lot of stuff they went through during the pandemic, that the way they were able to thrive and survive during the pandemic was because their parents' union jobs that they held, that they still was able to go to work and provide for their families. And a lot of the essays identified that. And it was something really powerful. And to have these young adults share that story was beautiful. And at the same time, I find it funny that, and this is for next year's entries that are coming in, please proofread your kids' essays. We had one essay that was just straightforward, like, my mom's making me submit this. So it's one of those, the parent didn't even look at the essay. But it's something I was missing from this family.
Yeah.
A key piece that we needed. Our international has always had that type of services with scholarships and everything. But to be able to say that your local, your own union that you're a part of has it is so much bigger.
And now your idea for next year, obviously we'll be doing the golf tournament again, but it's to provide more scholarships next year than this year, right? Every year moving forward, we want to be able to take care of more keiki.
What we want to do is expand it. And a few of the ideas that me and the other two officers of the board, Darryl Wilcox, Junior Moananu, we were discussing as we were going forward is 10 kids with scholarships. Kids who won the scholarship or submitted the year before they went to school, that are in school, come back and be able to apply. Create a higher amount. Maybe create something that if we know the kid is enrolled in a curriculum or in a school for become a labor attorney, give them a higher amount. Successfully get them through that college so that the unions can get more labor fight out there. And that was something we were tossing around. I would love to be able to hand out 10 more, and at the same time, those individuals that applied this year be able to come back next year and apply again. Increase the amount. I think that's the first steps we do.
And remember, it's not just the golf tournament, right? It's all those bingo tournaments. There was a bunch of things that you guys did throughout the year this year that seemed to be really successful. Got a lot of big turnout, and it was just fun for everybody. Lots of great prizes. You know, it's raising money, you know, doesn't have to be tedious, right? It seems like you've created a lot of great ideas and momentum to let's just all get together, have some fun, but all for a great cause.
To be able to create a fundraiser or an event where we bring in funds for our membership and at the same time able to come together as a family and enjoy it, I think that's what we always got to try to thrive and succeed for.
I think it's the subject we've talked about the most on the podcast from day one, and oh boy, do we have an update for you.
Temporary hazard pay. You know, when at the end of July, when we got the decision for City and County of Honolulu, we put out a whole bunch of videos out there for we could share the information, the victory, a key victory that I felt was important, that retired Supreme Court Justice Okoba ruled in our favor against the City and County of Honolulu. And not only coming to a decision of how long, the percentage, but to put it in the language where members didn't have to put in a claim, put into a bigger fight, that it was now going for the hours worked. So if you worked 16 hours, some of us was 24 hours, 32 hours. It was crazy during that pandemic. That it's now finally being recognized, and that our contract, the way we always felt it was read, is being upheld. And he gave that in a clear decision that he was following our contract. Now, the news came out as one of the first things they said was county admitted that the union won their arbitration, but they didn't get what they were asking for. Well, what we was always asking for from the beginning was to honor the contract. That's all we were doing. You signed the contract, I signed the contract, now uphold it. Don't violate it. And that's what we ask for the rest of the employers as we move forward to the next arbitrations, that we want you to just honor the contract. And the fact that we've been, 4 years now, going on waiting even longer, it's just prolonging. Do what's right.
For something they should have paid all along because it was in the contract.
It's in the contract. You know, and that's the way a lot of people, when you see people's comments that are not part of unions, they don't understand, like, hey, I didn't work during the pandemic. You got to. What's going on? It's the simple language of the contract that you agree to. Now, if you pay a roofer to come and redo your whole roof, but he decides halfway through that he doesn't want to do it, and he breaks your contract, then there should be repercussions to uphold that person to finish what that contract he agreed to. Now, before the COVID occurred, the contract language was there. During COVID, we agreed to another contract. The language was still there. After COVID's done, language is still there. So just honor that language. One thing I've always told the employer is if you disagree with us, let it just go to arbitration and let a third party rule on it. And that's actually what the mayor of Honolulu did. We allowed it to go to arbitration, allowed the process to go through, and the results was hours worked for 24 months at 15%, He upheld our ukupao, which is for refuge workers. They have a separate in contract that their language read was to be upheld. And that, to me, is something beautiful. And that's all we ever asked.
So, if I'm watching this and I don't live in Honolulu County, where are we at with the THP, everywhere else?
UH just wrapped up arbitration, and that's a statewide entity. So each island has a UH facility or school. Their arbitration just wrapped up last week. We want to say we could look at a decision from that arbitrator anywhere from late November going into December. I would hope and pray that we get that decision sooner, because like I've always said, more decisions that come out for any of the unions is stronger as we go to the table for the rest. Now, when OCOBA came out, a few of the employers remaining, we're not saying who yet, did approach us and said, hey, we actually like that settlement. Anyway, we can take that settlement and accept it on our terms. What we are telling each of those employers is we can take it out to a vote. The members will have a right if they want to accept it. And if they're not, we continue on with arbitration. And to me, it's only fair. If the employer is willing to give an offer that's similar to what's provided in the contract, let the members say if they want to accept it or not. And if they don't, and they want to continue to arbitration, and then that's where we go.
But precedence has been set with arbitration in Honolulu County already,
With
right?
that beautiful ACOBA decision.
Right. And obviously all these other counties know that, right? If you're on the other side of the table from
Correct.
UPW. So just hurry up, everyone, and just pay us what we deserve, right?
Yeah, well, show the respect for the services we provided.
Yeah. Coming up, something big, we've been talking about it all year as well, the general election, November 5th.
Hey, yep. I can't stress to everybody. It doesn't matter what party you're a part of. You got to get up and vote. You got to register. You got to cast it. It's your constitutional right. Currently. I want to stress that. Don't let other people come in and tell you if you can or you cannot vote. You're a United States citizen. You have that right to vote. You should be able to uphold that and cast your ballot. And that's why it's so stressful that you got to look at candidates, especially candidates that we support. That we got to stress to them that we're supporting them for a reason, and it's that labor movement. R, D, next to their name, L, whatever it could be, is what they're going to do for our members in the labor movement. I've said that over and over again, and I keep saying it. It was something instilled in me from my father, and something I want to stress to everybody else. Make sure you elect the guy that's going to protect your job, respect your job, and uphold the contract, and pay your hazard pay.
And so, with the DNC...
With the DNC, let me say, I want to say it was late April, May. The state convention was coming up for the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party has a labor caucus. They have a forum for labor to step in and have a say. I approached a number of the union leaders, and under their guidance and their support, I was able to get their blessing to pursue the labor seat or chair or whatever you want to call it as a delegate to the national convention. And I got to make sure I recognize those individuals. George Paris from Steelworkers, Chris West from ILW, IBW, all three heads of theirs supported me. Unite Here supported me in this position. Peter Ariati from Mason supported me. And I want to make sure I thank those individuals because they knew they needed someone from the labor to be up there present. And not only was myself as a leader of United Public Workers, but also OSA from Hawaii Teachers Association was there. And to have two labor heads sitting there in the Democratic Party for Hawaii, it really showed that labor is making a move politically to support the candidates that support us. And that's why it's so stressful that I can't get it across more than enough that no matter who you go with, you make sure you go with the candidate that's going to protect your job. And that's so important. And that's why it was something that was asked of me the other day. We have employers who are fighting us on the hazard pay. We have employers that don't want to honor the contract. What do? I said, well, if you notice, this last round, we didn't endorse those candidates. The PAC committee took a hard stance of, we can't do it. We just left the race open. We didn't go against them. We didn't go opposing them. We didn't go running around saying they didn't want to give us this because no. If you can't at least honor the contract, you can't have our logo on our banner. And that's just plain language, simple. You got to uphold that logo going on your banner means something. It shows respect that you worked with us and you earned it to be there. And I think our members are seeing that now. And you saw that in the primary. Well, of all our races, all our endorsed candidates, there's only 4 losses. And out of those 4 losses, 2 of them was less than 100. And that's just crazy.
Which is a reminder of people that think that their vote doesn't count, right? If you're losing by 100 votes or less, and all those people that just sat at home because they thought they wouldn't make a difference, you have to get out and you have to vote.
You have to get up. You have to vote. One of them was, I want to say, about 45 votes. Now, in a perfect world, in this union as we move forward, where I'm going to take this union, is when we endorse a candidate, regardless if that's your friend, your auntie, your uncle, you're going to look at it going, okay, hang on. Why did my union not endorse you? There's got to be a reason why. There's also got to be a reason why when you're driving by and you see UPW supports this candidate. Hold on, let me look into that a little bit better. And that's why it's so important in a perfect world, if all our members, you telling me I couldn't find 40 more people in the Kalihi area?
40 more people in your office even, right?
And you know what? In a lot of our races, even out of the 4 we lost, we still have strong candidates in those fields, in those parties, in that district. We still have stronger candidates. So it's not like we picked the wrong one. It just was 4 races. And as we approach the general, we attack it again.
And you could pick the best candidate all day long. Doesn't matter if people don't get out and support that candidate.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So is there like a one-stop shop, just one place where people can go and see who UPW is, have it all laid out for you?
We have all the information on our website. We try to make sure we share it leading up. And, more importantly is we do get a mailer out to the members. For the general, we're going to get it out way sooner because what we want to do is we have something in your hand when you grab your ballot and you're ready to vote. You can open it up. Okay, here's my district.
It's like literally a union voting guide.
Yes. Look, right now we have Congresswoman Jill Takuda. She has a race this year. And she did very well in the primary. But you have a candidate running for re-election who has walked the picket line with our members, who has walked the picket line with Local 5, Hawaii Nursing Association, and someone to hold a seat of that level and be on the picket line says everything. That is the individual you want to make sure is in office. The one that is standing on the picket line with your workers supporting you.
I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, I got to say, she is a Castle Knight graduate, so I just want to put that out there, okay? Don't hold it against her. She's doing a phenomenal job. I consider her my sister. Castle Knights. Sorry, just got to put it out.
So the website is upwhawaii.org/vote. So it's right there. You can go and check it out, that union voting guide, and you will get the mail out as well. And it is, again, like every election, it's not just about who you're voting for president of the country. It's those down ballot races that are also critical.
It's everything from city council, county council, school boards, all the way up to the VP and the president. And you know what? I got to say this. I love Waltz. And the reason I love him, he's a union card-holding member.
Yeah, he's a teacher, right? Or he used to be a teacher and a football coach, right, at the school.
He's a dues-paying member of a union. He has a strong family, and I love that about him. Got to meet him twice at our international convention and then
Humble
at
brag.
the DNC. Solid individual. I like him as an individual. But labor, in support of the labor unions. A person who pays their dues, hold their card, something special. To be able to ask him and he pulls out his wallet and shows you his membership card is something special.
That's so cool. Now, on the website in this voting guide, it's also going to walk people through how to register to vote as well, correct? If you're not already registered?
Correct.
And the government, for once, has made it easy. It's easier than ever to register to vote.
You know, as we move forward, we have a few more Section 8s coming up. By the time you see this video, our Section 8s might be in the middle of it. But we've been constantly, for the past 2 rounds of informational meetings, getting out there and registering the members to vote, getting them to step up and be involved. And the beautiful thing is the members see it. They understand now that we need people in elected positions on that side of the field fighting for us. And that's what we need as we go forward.
And, you know, if you're sitting at home complaining about the situation, you know, that the country's in, that the state is in, that the city's in, but you haven't actually voted, you know, it really does make a difference.
Correct. It makes a difference. 40 votes could have gone one way, 40 votes could have gone the other, 100 votes could have gone one way, 100 votes could have gone the other. And as we move forward, I gotta say, not only on the labor fight, but Hawaii has been changing, and we need to address that soon.
And so if you're listening or watching this and you've already registered to vote and you know how to do it, you don't need to wait for us for that union voting guide in the mail. If you can help a coworker or a friend through the process of registering to vote, don't wait for us if you can help.
Yes.
I've done it myself, and it is surprisingly easier than ever to register to vote now.
Actually, if you come to any of our offices statewide, they have a QR code right there. Our staff is able to help register them to vote. Online, we have a quick link that you could use to register to vote. So we help provide the members to get that information as well.
Okay, so bottom line, get out there and vote. It really, really, truly matters.
It does. It means everything.
And just to go over everything once again, with the strikes, we've got the hotel strike, potentially the nurses strike, and what that means moving forward, right?
Yeah. Support all labor strikes. And, you know, I just want to say, you do a staycation, and you see they're about to go to strike. Move your staycation. Go someplace else. Don't give that business your business. Go somewhere else. When you do stay at the hotel and there is no strike going on, request for room service every single day. They're cutting, that's one of the ways they're doing it, is they're cutting the services. And what they're doing is actually cutting the jobs. So instead of having room service every single day, they tell you, hey, you want room service, you got to schedule it. But what that does is, I don't need to bring in 4 to 5 workers. I only need to bring in 2. So it's ways as us, as brothers and sisters of United Public Workers, can show Unite here how we can support. You hear that they're going to strike, you got a staycation coming up, move it to another hotel. Give it to another union hotel that's honoring the contract and upholding their workers. We got ILW, Unite here, Teamsters, all of them represent hotels. A lot of them out there that are union-friendly hotels that we can stay at.
And oh, by the way, you know, if one union is on strike at a hotel, all the other unions, you know, honor that, right? And then
Correct.
they don't, the vendors that the hotel works with that aren't directly involved will back off and not cross that picket line either. So by supporting one union, you're sort of supporting all of the unions when it comes
Correct.
to that situation.
One thing I cannot stress enough is you never cross the picket line. You never go against another union or the members of that union. You uphold it, you respect it, and support them.
Sure. The situation could be reversed one day, right?
Correct.
And you want that help. If people want to get more involved, people watching, people listening want to get more involved with these union initiatives, how do we go about that?
Start attending our meetings, informational meetings, board meetings, be in attendance, get more information out. You hear about picnics, anything going on, come on out, join us. Just being involved in anything gets you more information.
Free
And that's-
food is always good. It's always a way to get people
The way
out.
to the soul and the heart is through the stomach.
Yeah.
But it's that extra step that just coming out, being involved. You hear we're sign waving, come out, do some sign waving. You hear we got a horseshoe tournament. You don't have to be a professional to play in it. Just come out and enjoy. You hear we got opening day at the ledge. Come out. There's ways that we can stay involved and rise up, not only on just the contract enforcement, not only in through community events and sports activities, entertainment activities, which we have a lot of separate committees running up those, so we have events going on constantly. But there's just so much more, and then it's just being involved, staying involved is the way to do it.
And one more time, the website for people for the voting guide.
Oh, it's our website, United Public Workers Hawaii,
There you go.
upwhawaii.org.
/vote. All right, Kalani, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too, Flash.
Go out and vote. Don't forget.